time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Huber way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Kidney Hub East Africa. I am half your host, Steve the Kidney Nurse. Now today, we are gathered here. I want to bring on Brother Moses from Nairobi. We are gathered here to shed light on an important and often overlooked issue: the challenges faced by people with chronic kidney disease, kidney failure in East Africa and abroad. This show today aims to raise awareness about the struggles living with this condition encountered on a daily basis. We will delve into the social, economic, and healthcare related challenges and explore potential solutions to improve the lives of those affected. So join us today as we embark on a journey to understand and address the pressing issues surrounding chronic kidney disease in East Africa. Let's give Brother Moses the VIP intro all the way in this 8:11 p.m. at night, Sunday night, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Let's welcome our co-host, Brother Moses. Brother Moses, welcome. Can you hear me, brother?
Oh, yes, Brother Steve. How are you?
All right. I was getting worried there for a moment. I was thinking we had internet
Ah,
problems. Man,
I think
welcome.
I think there was internet problem on your
Okay.
side.
Yeah, welcome to the
Yeah,
show, man. It's another week. It's good to see you. How you been?
I'm good, brother Steve. Despite challenges that we are just about to talk about, but the most important thing that we must keep going.
Absolutely. And
We
for
must
those
keep
of you,
going, whatever what come. We must keep fighting.
absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, Brother Moses also is a kidney warrior. He goes to dialysis twice a week, and he's dealing with some of these same challenges that we're about to talk about. Brother Moses recently had access surgery, placement of a AV, arterial venous graft. So, how is your access coming along, Brother Moses?
It's healing. The swelling is reducing, and the stitches have healed. They are dry. And now I'm just waiting to see my surgeon on Tuesday, maybe to review it, and thereafter we see a way forward. But then at the moment, it is thrilling. Not so much with that speed, but I can feel the thrill along the graft. So
Okay.
it gives me encouragement.
All right, that's awesome. I know. Now, do you still have your dialysis catheter in? And for those who don't know what a dialysis catheter, this is it right here. Do you still have your catheter placed?
Oh yes, I was told my catheter will remain in place. Maybe after it has now been confirmed that it is working properly, I can achieve the required speed, and such like factors. Thereafter, the catheter shall be removed.
Got you. Got you. And I just
Mm.
want to
I
say,
also plan, Brother Steve, I also plan once the catheter is removed, I'll go for swimming because that is what I've been missing.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And if you're watching the broadcast and if you are faced by any of these challenges we're about to talk about, please comment, let us know, and how you dealt with it, or if you're dealing with it right now. So, Brother Moses, let's get right to it. Today, we're going to be talking about challenges faced by kidney warriors, not just in East Africa, but abroad. And because we know that other warriors dealing with kidney disease are probably dealing with the same issues. And we focused on East Africa because of the infrastructure, finances, logistics, and everything else is almost not completely, but little broke down to where many kidney warriors there are not getting the help they desperately need, especially to do 3 days a week treatment, where that costs extra to do extra treatment because the normal treatment regimen is twice a week there, opposed to here in the United States, it's 3 times a week for treatment. So, excuse me, the first challenges faced, and it's a variety. I'm just today we're going to talk about 10. Okay. Now, the first one is dietary restrictions. Now, managing a kidney friendly diet can be challenging as it often involves limiting certain nutrients like sodium, potassium, and phosphorus. Brother Moses, can you share your experience dealing with dietary restrictions?
Oh yes. Uh, Dietary restriction is basically one of the most difficult to adhere to because there are so many factors in play that hinders this. Number one, is availability of the right food stuff locally. In normal circumstances, each region has its own available food. But then what is available locally might not be available for a renal patient diet. So this is why it is not easier sometimes to adhere. Myself, I've indulged severally because I'd rather not go without a meal, but then to indulge. For example, when you go to eating houses, uh, uh, you find that there are beans, but then these beans are not the kidney beans, the red beans are not prepared the way they should be there, or you don't find the green beans. All right, so you end up taking that so that you don't go with your stomach empty. And that is why sometimes it is not easy. A warrior can know what exactly is supposed to be done, but then now sometimes our hands are tied. I know it happens else everywhere, not only in East Africa, but then speaking from my point of view is that a warrior is able to, a warrior knows what is supposed to be done, what food is supposed to be taken, but then these challenges crop in. So your hands are tied. Sometimes you indulge, Brother Steve.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you able to see a dietitian? Is that part of your treatment, to see a dietitian to help warriors who say before they start dialysis? Is there any education to help warriors um, limit their diet restrictions or manage that?
Oh, yes, there is. But then now, you need to seek privately a doctor and then a dietitian to take care of that. You need to seek privately. It is you organize it privately so that you are
But
guided.
that's a cost.
Uh, the, yeah, at your own cost. Yes,
Wow.
the cost is equivalent to a doctor's consultation.
Mm-hmm. So, do
Mm.
most kidney warriors where you're at, do they consult a dietitian, or is
Many a
out of their
times,
budget?
many a times, they even go by the myth and the misconceptions that I don't eat this, we should eat this. And then they keep on fumbling. That is why sometimes most warriors goes to dialysis centers very weak, as opposed to uh, uh, being a little bit healthy.
Hmm. Okay, so number two, fluid management. CKD patients may need to monitor their fluid intake closely to avoid fluid retention and related complications. So, has this been a challenge for you and other kidney warriors where you're at that undergo kidney dialysis?
Definitely, yes.
Fluid management?
Especially when the temperatures are hot, like this moment. We tend to drink a lot of water because of dehydration. You walk outside, scorching sun, and then you just sweat and you feel you need water. But again, above all, sometimes food food that we eat with the spiked sodium also makes it very difficult to regulate the amount of water we take. So yes, it is quite challenging.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're only getting dialysis treatment twice a week,
Mhm.
um, and you got all this fluid on, then that can be a challenge. Okay, so number 3, medication management. Keeping track of multiple medications and adhering to complex medication regimens can be difficult for some people. Brother Moses, do you take many medications?
Uh, yes, currently I'm taking few medications for the nerves and a supplement, iron supplement. So that is what I'm taking at the moment. Not much because I'm not diabetic, I'm not hypertension. So basically, I take few drugs. I've been lucky.
Now,
Uh,
no, I was just going to say, as a healthcare professional, I do see that because at times we have to do um, medication review. So we ask kidney patients to bring in their medication that they take at home. And there have been times where somebody had like a bag, grocery bag, plastic bag, and it has, yeah, just like that, up to like 15, 20 different medicines. 10, I mean, it's a lot. And we got to go right down the list, or I got to look at each bottle and match it up to the MAR, medication uh, record, right? And it's a lot. And so I'm sure it can be a challenge if you're taking 15 different medicines trying to keep up, unless you have a pill container where you had the days Monday to, the days of the week,
mhm.
and you can have it to where if you take in the pills 3 times a day, you can have one for morning, noon, and evening. And so that's just a one idea. If one is taking that many medicines and you don't have a pill holder or separator, that would be something to think about. All right, let's talk about the next one, Brother Moses. Fatigue and weakness. CKD, chronic kidney disease, can cause anemia and fatigue, impacting the patient's energy level in daily activities. Have this impacted you? Fatigue and weakness? I'm sure has impacted many people because I hear this a lot about after dialysis, one feels tired and they had to go home to take a nap. And then they're not, they feel better the next day, but then the day after, they got to go right back to dialysis. In your case, you have a little stretch between treatments. But talk about that fatigue and weakness as you experience it.
Well, I do understand from where I sit. It is something that is quite common because of maybe the risks associated with dialysis. Number one, sometimes there are situations where they have to draw a lot of water from your body, and then definitely you become weak or you go to hypotension. That is one. Number two, there is a scenario where just like the diet we've talked about, you maybe you are malnourished, you don't get enough food, maybe you don't get enough protein, and then you simply get and become weak. And then the last one I know is when one is anemic. Definitely with CKD patient, you are prone to be anemic, and that one again makes you really very weak. And there is just general weakness that you are tired every day, and most of the public do not understand why maybe so and so is always tired. it becomes very difficult sometimes to trigger that conversation to even some of your loved ones, because they wonder why you are always tired. You cannot do what other people can do, and you keep on selecting food, and then you complain of not eating this. You want to eat this, So it becomes really entirely mixed problem, Brother Steve.
Mm, absolutely. Please, if you're watching this, share the live. Look, we want to get this to where this is a show, a weekly show where you can come and watch, um, participate in a discussion and dialogue with us. Um, there's no other show out there like Kidney Hub East Africa, and we just need more people to come and soak up the information, especially our brothers and sisters in East Africa. I know it's late in the evening there, but hopefully in the morning you could come and watch this while you're doing treatment and watch other videos to uh, help you navigate during this journey with kidney disease. So, Brother Moses, so number 5, and I'm sure a lot of people may experience this. They talk about emotional well-being. Emotional well-being, dealing with a chronic illness, not just kidney disease, but any chronic illness like lupus, sickle cell, cancer, diabetes, hypertension can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression for some people. And I know I deal with anxiety sometimes when I go to the doctor or if I have any type of flare up with anything. But, Brother Moses, have you experienced any emotional well-being discomfort dealing with this disease, like the stress, anxiety, or depression? I'm sure dealing with your access, that can have some anxiety or stress, wondering if it's going to work, if it's going to continue to work. Talk about
Definitely, yes. uh, for the entirely February, I've had a lot of anxiety. I've had a lot of stress regarding my new graft, because it has been back and forth, and just as always I've explained, when you go to a referral hospital especially, you don't get services immediately because you are not alone. So it even adds more pressure and stress on you each time you visit hospital. But then even after the surgery, still the anxiety hangs in there. Why? Because you want to feel that your new access is doing fine. You want good news. Basically, you want positiveness alone. Always you want to feel, sometimes, Brother Steve, I feel like mine is not working, but it is because I'm accustomed to it. I keep on pressing at night when it's really quiet, dark in the night. Then I can feel it. Then I say, oh yes, yeah, I'm doing fine. But then what happens if sometimes the thrill is not buzzing as it's been? You get worried. And definitely, yes, it is it is there. It is there, Brother Steve. Uh, it comes in so many forms. Sometimes you want certain drugs, you don't get them. Definitely. You just fall in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tabitha, I can't pronounce your last name. I don't know if you can see your screen. I don't want to butcher. I'm sorry, Tabitha. I'm just going to call you Tabitha. Tabitha says lots of anxiety, fear. It is so real for dialysis patients. Fear the blood will clot on the machine. Fear the infection might set in. Fear of unknown. Fear for the future. And that last one, we're going to talk about it, planning for the future. But she is absolutely right. And this is what I try to talk about, Brother Moses, when I'm on TikTok and I talk about patients advocating for themselves, like knowing the dialysis prescription, like if one gets heparin or not, because heparin prevents the blood from clotting on the machine. But you can still run on the machine and not get heparin and it won't clot. But some people need heparin. And so this is why I advocate for patients to know what's going on. That's why I wrote the book, the Dialysis Patient Handbook of Information, to hopefully help alleviate some of those fears, Brother Moses. You understand what I'm saying? They decrease it. That was the purpose for the first book, the how to survive outpatient hemodialysis. Because a lot of patients, when they start dialysis, many come through the hospital system here in the United States, and they don't get any education on the different treatment options, and they get herded into outpatient dialysis and don't know what's going on. So this is real. And for many people, they don't seek the help or the information until it happens to them or it's knocking on their door. So let's talk about, so we talked about 5, the emotional well-being. And after we discussed these 10, we got solutions, possible solutions. So stick around to hear that. 6, financial burden. And I know that impacts not just our brothers and sisters in East Africa, but the United States, United Kingdom, theirs is free. But I'm sure when it comes to certain medicines and some financial burden may impact. But if you're not like Canada, they pay for theirs. United Kingdom. But there's other places not as fortunate as Canada, United Kingdom, maybe if other places are paying for your health care. But the financial burden, the cost of medication, treatment, and lifestyle changes can place a significant financial strain on patients and their family. I can't tell you how much I've seen this, Brother Moses, where we have people here in the United States that have to make a decision if they want to get medicine, blood pressure medicine, or pay a utility bill. Or they may say, hey, where can I find help? My car's not working. My water heater went out. Or something significant happened where it put a financial strain on the family. Not on top of that, they got financial bills, invoices coming in from the company for $60,000 and $70,000 for dialysis treatment. Now, I don't know what the financial situation is like in Kenya, but I know you shared with me your plight, and I'm sure many other warriors deal with the situation. But has this been a burden for you, financial burden, dealing with this disease?
Oh yes, brother Steve. Number one thing, I just want also to recognize that this is a challenge. Financial challenge is something globally, but then maybe in Africa and narrow it down to Kenya. The situation, I think, is special because, for example, Brother Steve, uh, it is purely a burden. A reason being, the disease itself is a burden. Then that financial struggle is a burden because, leave alone medication, warriors here sometimes lack even transport to and fro from hospital. And then basically nobody cares whether you lacked transport or bus fare. No, it is no one's business. So you can see how gravity it is here in Kenya, because you just miss basic uh, utility bills, then you are done. You are just left, Brother Steve. You are just left to fight your own battle. All right. And then it is also a burden to families. You know, normally people tend to help you in the first semester of your disease. And then people really participate and are caring. Even you see the number of people accompanying you to your dialysis unit is just good number. But as you progress, as time goes by, people fall on the way. They get tired because now it means you need money for transport, you know. Okay, so you realize that each time you go to hospital, initially you used to go being accompanied maybe with 4 loved ones or relatives or friends. Then next month, one falls away. It goes like that until you will be going to dialysis alone, and nobody will be asking you the progress of your treatment. Why? Because people do not want to hear about financial burden, to the extent that it becomes very normal for no one to care whether you got treatment or what is needed in the hospital. So yes, it is really a big challenge. Personally, you know, I developed, Brother Steve, I've never told you, I developed bone mineral disorder that I'm no longer weak. I'm no longer strong enough maybe to do certain household activity. But then I used not to take minerals supplement. I mean calcium, and you know, then I got weak. But then when I started taking them, it was already late because I even had fractures, my 3 ribs, and then I also have from my shoulder collarbone, and then another one from my toe. So basically, I know how it can impact. I'm just sharing so that people who knows me how I work should not be asking me why I work that way. So it is because of that financial burden that you cannot share with someone. You'd rather keep your problems away from others. So yes, it is a big challenge.
And,
Big challenge, Brother Steve.
and Brother Moses, I got to be honest with you. Right now, I'm fuming. And why I'm fuming, because here in the United States, I see it when I go to work. We give medicine like the calcitriol to help with the bone disease, and the Sensipar. And you have people who don't take it or throw it away or decline it. And insurance pays, I don't know what copay they pay, but they get it like clockwork. And for some people, they don't even take it. They don't know how good they have it here, where you get your medicine to help prevent that type of problems like you incurring, and where you're at, you can't even get it because of lack of the finance, or or the medicine is out of your reach, and now as a result, it has impact your mobility. That burns me up. Even here with supplies, the waste, the wastage of supplies and certain medicine that could be sent to countries that like yours that uh, don't have access to a lot of uh, DME, durable medical equipment, these type of supplies that can have a significant impact on treatment. It just really burns me up. Um, we got Peterson O'Chain following from Nairobi. I don't know if you know Peterson, and Nicholas Oyango are watching from Nairobi, as well as Tabitha. Tabitha says, coping, accept you are sick, seek help on time, take your medication as prescribed, adhere to dialysis as per schedule, educate yourself about the disease and management, manage anger, seek support from relevant others like family and workplace, continue with normal life, regular visit for dialysis clinic, follow up, do investigation as ordered. Life must continue. Moses, what do you think about what Tabitha said?
It is purely truth, but then I know Tabitha will speak as maybe as not a patient, but on a patient seat where I am. Things are different. It is not the theoretical thing that we should be doing, but it is about uh, do we really access to what we are supposed to be doing? When you speak about taking your medication and not addressing where the medication comes from, then there's still a problem. There are still gray areas to be addressed. That is
Yeah.
why, yes, things can be spoken literally that take your medication, do your investigation.
But one
Yes,
may not have the financial means to get the medication.
the medication, that is the problem. That is where the challenge comes in. Or you are told that this thing is free in this hospital, but when you go, you are given a 2 months notice hospital that something that actually need to be done outpatient, you are booked 2 months to
Mm.
come, So yes, theoretically, paperwork, things can just be okay. Even the law, as we speak in Kenya, is very nice, but then there are challenges in implementing that law, certain laws, especially on healthcare.
Got you. Got. So let's move on. Number 7, access to care. Some patients may face challenges in accessing specialized care, especially in rural, underserved areas. And I'm sure that's real over in Kenya because you got rural areas where people got to travel from one spot to go maybe a half a day to get to the main hospital. Can you speak about that?
Oh yes, there are places that are underserved. There is a county known as Masabit County. One would go for about 300 kilometers to access dialysis. 300 kilometers. I don't know how to compute that so that you can see how far it is. You travel about 3 hours by road. So so basically, what you get, what you need to get, sometimes when you have the money, then there is also logistical factors that gets into play. For example, one traveling 3 hours to access dialysis. What happened twice a week? Or if there is an emergency, you need to travel from that place to the city. I recently came from Kisumu. There was no vascular surgeon in Kisumu to do the graft. I had to come to Nairobi. Nairobi, I had to travel about 6 hours by road, almost same hours by train. So yes, sometimes there are places that are underserved. Back to you, Brother Steve.
Very well said, Brother Moses. Thank you. And that even happens here in the United States, getting access to care, especially in underserved areas or rural areas. All right. Now, number 8, employment and lifestyle adjustments. Now, CKD, chronic kidney disease, may require patients to make significant changes to their work schedule and lifestyle to accommodate treatments and manage their health. Brother Moses, has CKD impacted your lifestyle or affected your employment?
Oh, definitely.
Talk about that.
Oh, when I first diagnosed that I'm a kidney failure patient, though the journey began maybe 10 years ago, but then from that time I was diagnosed and I started dialysis sessions. I used to be a little bit strong. I'll go work just like normal, ordinary, but then at night I would go for some dialysis sessions at night, and then work during the day. But then as time goes by, as disease progress, there are so many things that come in, complications that makes you even weaker and non-productive each day, each night. So my last job, I was unable to be my contract, they were unable to renew it because they were complaining that sometimes I get away twice a week, or sometimes the several sick leave that I will take was too much. So that one I got affected. So when it came blatant clear that I can no longer work, so it was purely acceptance, because honestly, you cannot work. Sometimes you want to work, but then where's the energy to work? Where do you get the energy? Yeah. So it becomes the new norm, and then life continued that way amidst challenges. But then, as a warrior, what I've always said, that positiveness, and you must keep on going, whatever hard, whatever the challenges, you must keep going. However, Brother Steve, I don't like the idea that people telling me stay strong, and they do not have the idea of what you are going through. It really, you feel bad sometimes. You feel bad, but then it is quite normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. And that's why when I have people who may be on TikTok that ask me which dialysis treatment option is better, I normally say it's based on your lifestyle. And due to advantages and disadvantages of each one according to your lifestyle, especially if you still work. And if you want to continue to work, then it would be best, in my opinion, to do home dialysis. Okay, that's just my opinion. If one still works, home dialysis would be the best option, in my opinion, because now you don't have to be committed to a schedule in the facility. And you may not get the schedule you want. Say you may need a chair first shift. Well, we all know most of the first shift on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is not available, or it's a waiting list. And then second shift starts about 10 o'clock. Most of the people are at work. And then third shift starts at 3, and you may not get off at 3. You may get off at 4 or 5. But the days of dialysis, you're trying to get off early, using up sick leave or PTO, so you don't miss a treatment. Because if the shift starts at 3 o'clock, if you got a chair time at 3, or say 3:15, and you get off at 4 o'clock or 3:30, it ain't no way you're going to get there by 3:15. So if you get there at 4 o'clock, you leave work at 3:30, you get there at 4:15, they're going to cut your time and take you off with the last patient. Thus, now you're losing time. So it definitely impacts lifestyle and employment. And that's what I say, whatever your lifestyle employment is, based on that, if you're someone that you don't work and you don't want this stuff at your house, go to the clinic. But just know what you got to deal with when you go to the clinic. All right, 9, we're almost there. And we still got to talk about the options, or, opposed to these challenges that we have, that one can implement. Coordinating care, managing multiple healthcare providers and appointments can be overwhelming for some people. Is that you, Brother Moses?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Brother Moses, do you also have multiple appointments that you have to go to other than the kidney doctor? Because here, I know many patients, they may have diabetes, heart issues, high blood pressure, or other issues going on where they had to go to multiple appointments around their dialysis. Is that the same with you?
Oh, yes. Sometimes you find yourself needing multiple appointments. That is maybe you need to see a radiologist. For my case, that is intravenous radiologist. I needed to see one at one time so that they would verify whether I have a bone issue. Now, I also needed to see an orthopedic at the same time, just to confirm other investigation. So yes, it is true. And then other than that, you can still get illnesses just like any other healthy person. So yes, you must be equipped and armed anytime to seek any medical specialty that is requested by your nephrologist.
Mm-hmm. And Brother Moses, let me backtrack. I thought about something as I read Tabitha's comment. She said, serving CKD patients over time, so many have lost jobs. Some employers are considerate and have accommodated our client for business. The loss is huge due to absence. Family support is a great key. And what else I wanted to add to that, see, unfortunately, I'm not sure they do peritoneal dialysis in East Africa, but Here in the United States, I didn't mention that. If one say, what should I do? You can do peritoneal and do your treatment at work. Meaning, if you do manual, you could do a manual exchange at work. People are like, how do you do that? I mean, the ADA, American Disability Act, the same way that women can bring their pump and pump breast milk at work, you can do the same with peritoneal dialysis. You got an office, they may have to supply you a room where on your lunch break you go do your treatment or do the uh, the well, let it infuse in. Then once it goes in, wrap the bag up and go back to work. And when it's time for you to drain, you go and drain it. So there's many ways you can look at this when it comes to managing employment and lifestyle, especially depending on what treatment option one choose. And Tabitha also says multiple appointments can very draining, causing burnout. And I'm sure many people, just here in the United States, I hear patients say, I got an appointment. My time centers around, my days all centers around doctor's appointments. And last but not least, number 10, planning for the future. CKD patients may need to consider long-term care options, including dialysis or transplantation, and make decisions about their future healthcare preferences. Have you thought about that, Brother Moses?
Oh, yes. That is a very important consideration in that I just want to give an example. If you've been going far distance for a specific dialysis center, but then there is a nearer, then you can opt now to move to that nearer facility because now dialysis becomes part of your life unless you do transplant. So meaning you need to look exactly at that long-term aspect of it. So it is advisable maybe for one to move closer to the unit and even to rent the way Tabitha mentioned, which is very nice because if you rent closer, then you would be cutting cost for maybe emergencies, travel cost, yes. So that preparedness must be taken into consideration because this is a lifelong activity. It is part of you. So yes, you must think beyond tomorrow and even beyond future because it is there with you.
Yes. Tabitha also says, so I stand corrected. She says peritoneal dialysis is done in Kenya. It has a cost implication on top of normal National Hospital Insurance Fund supply. That's why many clients decline it. So it actually costs some money out of your pocket to do peritoneal. It's not covered like hemo is. Is that true, Brother Moses?
Well, peritoneal dialysis, I've only had it in Nairobi Hospital, but then at Kenyatta National Hospital is one of the destination, maybe even in East Africa, but I doubt whether it is being done there. Actually, to be precise, it is not there. It is not there. Peritoneal dialysis is not there.
Okay.
Yeah, it is in center hemodialysis. That is what is available. But then if there are cases, then just few cases, 2-3 cases, very few, but very few private hospital.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's look at some of the remedies. Let me just read this comment by Dennis Wambas. He say in Kenya, access to proper medication is still a challenge due to cost. Early diagnosis is also a challenge in most facilities, coupled with strain in the few available treatment facilities. And the most neglected consideration and most neglected and the most connected consideration when treating or managing kidney failure patient is stigmatization. Wow, okay. Brother Moses, we got some remedies that we can discuss. We're going to be going over the broadcast a little bit, but when it comes to dietary guidance, a remedy could be providing patients with personalized dietary counseling and meal planning to help them adhere to kidney-friendly diets. And again, like you said, you can put this in theory and put it on paper and it sounds good, but actually implementing it is still another challenge, because if you got to pay for the dietitian, how do you get a personalized dietary counseling and meal planning? And if you don't understand it on your own, how do you know how much of this or how much of that to ingest? So we're still at a roadblock. And this is where I guess Brother Moses, shows like what we do, Kidney Hub East Africa, or Steve, the kidney nurse, I put out kidney disease education moments on my page and talk about certain diet or other aspects of kidney dialysis. But what about the kidney organizations in Kenya? Do they have any literature or information where it can help one with dietary guidance when dealing with this disease?
Well, I guess yes, there are some few literature out there that can really assist, but now sometimes people are not accustomed to reading or getting information. People love comedy. People love comedy more than anything else. That is why even Brother Steve, you see, we are not reaching people the way we should be reaching, because this is serious information. Serious. It's about matter of health. But then if it was comedy, you would see people flocking in. But then now there are information out there always, because even when you check other developed countries, US, UK, you see, you can still access any information you want. But the problem is that people do not access. So I wouldn't say that there is no information. The information is out there, really full. Awaits for people to consume.
Gotcha. Number two, another remedy to help patients with chronic kidney disease face these challenges: education and support. Offering educational resources and support groups to help patients understand their condition and cope with the emotional impact of CKD. Now, Facebook has many Facebook groups for kidney warriors. And then here with this show and with Steve, the kidney nurse, we are offering educational resources. Just doing this show is an educational resource. So we doing it. It's just like Brother Moses said, reaching the masses that deal with this problem. We know it's a lot, this disease impacts almost 2 million people globally or more. Three, medication management support, providing tools and resources to help patients manage their medications effectively, such as a pill organizer and medication reminders. Again, as we talked about, many people have multiple medications that they have to take. Unfortunately, I'm sure they don't want to take it, but if you have a heart condition on top of CKD, you may have to take some heart medicine, or may have to take a blood thinner like Plavix, Eliquis, Coumadin. And instead of having all these bottles all over the place, you may want to get a pill organizer and put them pills in there and reshuffle them each week, or restock them, resupply. Fatigue management. Number 4, addressing the anemia and fatigue through appropriate medical interventions, such as iron supplementation or erythropoiesis stimulating agents. So what that is, like if you have anemia, which most patients with chronic kidney disease do have, because once the kidneys deteriorate or go bad, they stop secreting a hormone called erythropoietin, which stimulates the bone marrow so it can produce more red blood cells. And when that stops happening, that's where the anemia comes in, because you're not making more red blood cells. And we had to give you the EPO shots or whatever you get, whether it's Aranesp or something else. So Tabitha says each patient is counseled by the dietitian depending on primary condition, but this depends on the facility. So Brother Moses, she's saying dietary patients are counseled, but do they pay for it or they don't pay for it?
Yes, that is the big question. Who pays for it? That is the big question. Who pays for it? Because each facility does not have their own dietitian. Maybe they are on call, including even public hospitals. They are on call. You don't go and find them sitting waiting for patients. So
right.
These are a few of the things.
She said they pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know that's a challenge for many kidney warriors and paying for these type of services, because if they could pay for a dietitian, then they could pay to get an extra treatment and go 3 times a week. So, number 5, mental health support. Mental health support. And let me go back to fatigue management. That's why some people say they feel tired. If you're not on dialysis and you're at stage 4 or 5 and you feel tired, it can mean a couple of things. But even if you're on dialysis and you feel fatigued, find out what your hemoglobin is. Find out what your albumin levels are. And if you're on dialysis, see how much fluid they're removing. Because if you're moving up to 3 to 4 liters, you multiply that times 2.2, that tells you how much fluid in pounds you've taken off. So, because not everybody who undergo dialysis, and everybody's different, but not everybody get fatigue or weakness. And those are the people you got to seek out, like, what are you doing? again, you may not have the same health condition. You got to look at the big picture. So mental health support and offering access to mental health professionals and support service to address stress, anxiety, and depression is key. It's critical. And Brother Moses, how did you, or how are you addressing your stress or anxiety or depression when that does impact your life?
Well, it has taken me a journey, Brother Steve, because otherwise, without mental health, good mental health, then you are finished, because you'd be angry with the world, your support system, you'd be complaining, you know. So one should just work on his or her mental health. It took me a journey, because when I decided to become an advocate, I also wanted to share with people that this disease not only makes you finish, that not only finishes you, but then there is tomorrow. There is tomorrow. There is life after diagnosis. And even when you see my first TikTok post, I did mention that there is life after diagnosis, meaning you should be liberated from that point, that now you know what you are suffering from, then you accept, pick on, and move on. So yes, basically it takes time to work on mental health. And this is where most patients lose it. This is where warriors lose it, because they want sympathy, you know. It's like somebody's responsible for their diseases, you know, I mean, such like. So that is why those who are strong enough and can speak up should come out in numbers, so that we create awareness. They get to know that,
Exactly.
yes, this is not the end of the road.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. And just to recap, Tabitha, and she's right about this, can cause fatigue. High urea and high creatinine, low hemoglobin may cause fatigue. And why would you get high urea, high creatinine? Like, say if you don't come to treatment, or if you skip your treatments. That happens here a lot in the United States. Many people may not feel like coming, so they don't come. Some people wait, because if you miss treatment, if you miss more than 30 days of treatment at an in-center, they can kick you out the unit and give your chair to somebody else. Some people wait up to the 28th day and then come to treatment. Yeah, they play the system like that, because they may still urinate, and the doctor has them for, got dialysis, because, the kidney's still not clearing enough waste. And you got people playing the system like that. And that's where, again, that makes me mad, because here you trying to get 3 days a week, you only can get 2, and you have people in the United States that doesn't take this serious. So let's talk about financial assistance. And that's a big deal. Connecting patients with financial resources, such as assistant programs or insurance navigators, to help alleviate the financial burden of CKD management. Now, I know this is a big issue in Kenya, because the national, what is it, the National Insurance Health, or the National Health Insurance, what is it, the NIH or NHI?
National Hospital Insurance.
Yeah, National Hospital
Yes.
Insurance controls payment. And so when you have organizations, I know you have a couple of kidney organizations in Kenya, do they have access to financial resources to help warriors?
At the moment, no. The government only give a little bit that curative part of it, but then the primary health care doesn't exist in that payment system. So, but then there is a new version of a National Hospital Insurance Fund that is coming into place, hopefully with goodies. If the way they are placed on paper, if they would work that way, then what is going to replace National Hospital Insurance Fund would be much better. But then, as we speak, they pay for treatments, other investigations, but then sometimes you are limited because you want drugs in a particular hospital, and then those drugs are not there, or even if they are there, the drugs are overwhelmed. The demand is so high, so you realize majority does not get such like services. Yes.
Yes. Dennis says one of the major problems, especially in managing kidney patients medically, comes when they have other underlying medical conditions, especially in cancer chemotherapy sessions. Balancing the two has proved to be challenge in most cases. And it's the same here, Dennis, in the United States. You may have some kidney patients that are undergoing dialysis, and they may have to go get chemotherapy. They may have maybe prostate cancer or dealing with kidney cancer, um, um, colon cancer, whatever type of cancer, and they getting radiation. And I've seen some patients had to go after their dialysis treatment, and they go to the chemotherapy because they couldn't get it on the other days. It's crazy. But you're right, Dennis, and I can't imagine that in Kenya as well. Um, and here, even with the financial assistance, they got certain organizations here that give patients a stipend of $200, but you gotta go through an act of Congress to get the money. You gotta fill out paperwork, gotta go through this red tape, um, providing documentation of limited income and all this just for $200. Just for $200. And are you there, Brother Moses? You got to unmute your mic. Your mic. And so I can't hear you. And so Tabitha says financial burden is an elephant in CKD management. I can't hear you, brother. You may have to go out and come back in. Okay, we're going to deal with this for a moment. Brother Moses, look at the private chat. Go out and sign back in. Okay. So as he does that, look, we done had a lot that we talked about today. In fact, we went over the show 15 minutes. But this is important and it's critical when we're talking about challenges faced by CKD warriors. Okay, especially in East Africa. And we have a worker from Kenya that talks about it. Let's see, we got Brother Moses back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Brother Steve?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Fine.
All right. And so, Brother Moses, is it hard to get financial assistance in Kenya from these kidney disease organizations?
Kidney disease organizations do not have any form of funding from the government or any form of funding elsewhere.
What about
But
from
then
private donations?
maybe private donation, they don't exist. Maybe individual donations that comes along to maybe few people, but then there is no funding. There is no funding for these kidney organizations, including the government. The government does not have the funding for kidney disease.
And so
Yes,
some
but
people
then
may have to make the decision of paying their rent instead of maybe paying, like if they needed some medicine and the doctor recommends some medicine for that CKD, like say phosphorus binder or something like that. Some people have to make a decision on whether to get the phosphorus binder or pay their rent.
yes. Normally, that is why I was saying there is no specific funding, but then, of course, the individualized funding that happens maybe to individuals or to a few group of people, but then it is not something to write home that there is funding because the government itself lacks funding because leave alone CKD. I want to talk about all non-communicable diseases. But then you see, like communicable diseases like malaria, and then even corona. There is that vibrancy that each state works hard to create awareness. Suppose cholera hits today. I know it is something that does not exist in the US, but I hope you know cholera.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when it hits today, the government will only mitigate on treatment, but then on further recurrence, the government shall not take care of that. That is why I'm saying, yes, there is no funding for kidney organizations in Kenya.
Wow. Okay. But they have the option of trying to raise money, right, to help, or if
Well,
they're
yes,
concerned with
yes,
corruption.
yes. But again, we are also there is possibility the government can raise any money that it
No, I'm
needs.
talking about the kidney organizations.
Yes, there is. It is not easy because I know it is a burden to globally, but then it is possible if people have to work together and do a good
Okay,
proposal.
so let me give you
Then
an example. So here in the United States, they have organization called the National Kidney Foundation. And each year, different chapters, but as a whole, collectively, they do what's called a kidney walk. But before that walk, they have or ask people to go out and get people to pledge. or raise donations for the kidney walk. And so people go out and raise money up to $8,000, $6,000, 7,000 doing their job, doing the Kidney Foundation's job, right? But each his own. And they turn the money back over, and they may give them a T-shirt or something like that. But they did the collection form by going out and asking for donations for the organization. Once they got those donations, they turned it over to the organization. Now, the kidney organization in Kenya could possibly do the same thing, right? Organize a kidney walk, get warriors to come out and go and possibly have people try to raise money to help kidney warriors in certain situations. Is that possible, or you don't think that's possible for that to happen?
It is possible, it can happen, but then the setup in this country also really at par with the one in US. Reason being, we don't have strong legislation protecting all these activities, because one will collect the money and go with it, you know, or the so-called technocrats are fond of collecting and outsourcing good money, but then in the name of administration, they tend to squander all the monies, including even the money they give people to buy food as relief. This they steal from their own brothers. So such an activity can happen, but then the truth of the matter is that we have a long way to go, a long way in that we need to make some of our legislation more developed to safeguard such activities. Yes, they can happen. I've seen where individual organizations raise funds, do proposals, and they get money, and they do remarkable activities, but not in renal industry. Haven't seen, not even a single education.
Wow.
Or awareness.
Okay. Let's move along, because we've been over almost an hour and a half, but this is very important information. 7, telehealth and remote monitoring. Utilizing telehealth services and remote monitoring tools to improve access to care, especially for patients in underserved areas. That's a possibility for patients in rural or underserved, if they can get access to telehealth and remote monitoring. That can help improve the access to care. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it works. Personally, it works on my side. I just call a doctor, my nephrologist, whenever there is something strange. I'll just call him and then explain to him everything. And then if he sees the urgency to visit, then I make a necessary arrangement and I visit. So yes, it really works.
So do you call him personally, or you talk to do you call his office and talk to a secretary?
The ones I've interacted with are quite good. I just call them directly, and I'm very sure most of other warriors also call them directly. So that is also the good thing we are enjoying here in Kenya, that you are able to call your nephrologist directly and talk to him, and then seek medical advice. Just like the other day, I would frequent calling my surgeon over my new graft. Then he says there's no problem whenever I talk to him. Yes. So telehealth is one of the most integral part of achieving better health care.
Yeah, they don't have that. For many people over here, they don't have that privilege. Some may, but many, they don't have the number to their surgeon or nephrologist. They got to go through channel, go through a process, and get them to call them back if they call them back. So that's awesome, and I'm sure that can work in other places too. Telehealth and remote monitoring, which is utilizing telehealth services and remote monitoring tools to improve access to care, especially for patients in underserved areas. And same here in the United States as well. Workplace accommodations. Okay, and I talked about that. Assisting patients in navigating workplace accommodations and disability benefits to support their employment needs. I'm not sure how that is over in Kenya, where they are willing to accommodate you in navigating your treatment. But here, that can happen where if one, again, does peritoneal dialysis, they can possibly do some treatments at work. Use your sick leave, PTO, if you got to go to treatment earlier than the time that you get off of work. Thank you, Kip2, for joining. He says a very informative session. Thank you. I appreciate you. But Brother Moses, did you have any workplace accommodations up until you didn't get your contract renewed?
No, it ends that way. It ends that way, and you move forward.
So they wouldn't. It wasn't accommodating, like let you leave work early, or
there is no accommodation. If you can't suit, if you can't suit in, then you better resign, or they better do away with you. So that is it.
Wow.
But I think the case is different if you work in a government. If you are a government employee, then most warriors I've seen who work in government gets accommodated.
Got you. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the same here, give or take. Some employers are accommodating, some aren't. Okay. Care coordination. We had talked about many warriors have multiple medical appointments. And this is where care coordination comes in, facilitating communication and coordination among healthcare providers to streamline care and reduce the burden on patients. So I don't know if you've done that, Brother Moses, with facilitating communication and coordination among your healthcare providers, meaning, say, for instance, you need to see a doctor and they need to see you on the day that you do dialysis, where you can coordinate either afterwards or on a different day. So, and then 10 is advanced care planning. And this is where planning for the future, the remedy. Advanced care planning, providing resources and support for patients to engage in advanced care planning, including discussions about treatment preference and end-of-life care. Brother Moses, have you had that discussion?
Oh, yes.
Can you talk about it?
Oh, yes. I normally work hand in hand with the administrative secretary within my facility, because I tend to scout for best facilities, that which is best and accessible to me. So yes, I've always worked with with the administrative secretary of the facility, and so that you plan when you are given appointment, and maybe they fall on the same day. Say you are supposed to go for dialysis, and then at the same time you need to visit maybe some specialty, then you either choose, then you can change the days so that it suits you. It suits you.
Mm. Okay. Hey, Brother Moses, do they have a document in Kenya for kidney warriors called Advanced Directive, which basically it's a form to let healthcare professionals know what to do if you have a situation on a machine. Say, for instance, if one's heart stops while they're on the machine, would you want them to do CPR, or would you want them to just, not do anything, or other certain health uh, uh, provisions? Do they have anything like that in Kenya?
Yes, they do for healthcare providers. It is there, but then it's relevant. Sometimes it is not felt because I want to give you an example. Even the consent form that the patient are supposed to sign, they are not aware in the first place that such a document exists, that you need to sign before dialysis. So yes, it is there, but its relevance still is not felt. You know, I want to say it might be there as a formality, but then just like the consent form, uh, no one asks about, or no one bothers to read. They only sign because it is supposed to be signed.
Yeah, and see, that's what I talk about, the consent form at times, what's involved in it. Because a lot, even here in the United States, some people, they just get it and sign it. They don't read everything that takes place pertaining to hemodialysis.
Mhm.
Okay. And so have you um, discussed or talked about yourself, if you're on dialysis and your heart was to stop, what you would want the clinic to do? Would you want them to save your life or let you um, continue to pass? Have they approached you about that, the clinic, to find out what you want them to do? Interventions if your heart was to stop while
Well,
on dialysis?
while on dialysis, in any eventuality, what they tend to do is to try to save your life. It is very clear that way, that whatever is happening during that time, during dialysis session, is that the nurses and the entire care team works hard towards saving your life. Yes,
So what
they
if
don't have the option of asking you, should we or not? But the answer is obvious that uh, uh, they
so
have
what if a
to.
person doesn't want, if a person heart stops and they don't want to be uh revived because they're not sure if, if they're going to have a quality of life? They can't, so they can't put in a form to say, if I have, say, a heart attack on the machine, I do not want to be revived. They don't have that option of saying that.
I think it is not easy. It is a difficult concept because Africans, we tend to believe that doing such act would amount to like committing suicide. So and also religiously, people tend to believe they have faith, a faith to the extent that sometimes they forget that faith without action is dead. And that is
Mm,
why you see we even have preachers who discourages people not to seek medical attention, especially for chronic illnesses. In the name of prayers, and people end up dying. So yes, it is a subject. It is a tricky subject, brother Steve. Uh, it is a tricky subject
I
because
understand. I understand.
Africans will not want to discuss about their death.
Oh, I completely understand.
Yes,
Wow. All right, brother. Well, we talked about challenges faced by CKD warriors. We talked about some remedies. We've been on an hour and 36 minutes. It's been a great topic. Brother Moses, do you want to leave with any words of wisdom or have anything you want to say to the uh, uh, watchers before we leave? Let me read this comment right quick before you comment. Dennis Wamba said, in Kenya, there is also a consent form normally signed by the next of kin, but the medical professionals don't take them through the details involved in the forms for proper understanding of this necessity. I like this guy.
man,
Do you know him?
this guy is very serious. I know him.
Yeah, we need to have
He's
him on the show one Sunday, Brother Moses,
I know
because
him. He's
he's
my cousin.
absolutely right. And this
He's
is
my
what I
cousin.
try to tell people here in the U.S. when they first start dialysis and they go and sign the consent form and they just get the signatures and no one goes over like they used to uh, the forms for the proper understanding of its necessity. They don't. He is right. I mean, so it's not just in East Africa. This happens in the United States as well because if you got someone, I kid you not, they're starting dialysis, right? And they on the third shift and they 4 hours and they want that person to come in early, right? So they can sign the forms and get it out the way and start treatment so they can get out by 7 or whatever. If you got person 4 hours, a lot of times the secretary goes over, had the people sign the form. The secretary doesn't know any of the nursing stuff in there. She don't, explain, talk about the cramping or the potential side effects of dialysis. Explain that in a way that the person can understand it. They want that signature. Hurry up, get the signature so we can get them on and start treatment. Because if the shift started at 3 and the patient gets there at 3:30 and they 4 hours and they don't get started until something to 4, they got to go over the forms and all that. I'm going to guarantee you they're not going to run that 4 hours. They're going to take them off with the last patient and tell that person, look, please get here earlier than what you did. So it's it's a lot to this. And we try to be a beacon of hope through this show for fellow East Africans, a resource as well, because we know that it may not always be there for you. So, Brother Moses, as I was saying, any words of advice or encouragement or parting words that you want to say before we end the broadcast?
Oh yes. The most important thing in life is to move away from the past. Now, if you are lately diagnosed with any form of chronic kidney disease, and not necessarily CKD, but then any form of chronic illness, then from that time of diagnosis, I want to assure you, you should capitalize it and make it the most liberating moment in your life, because from that moment you should accept, internalize, and move forward towards your future. Life should not end that way. So yes, there is no chronic illnesses meant for the elderly. One can get chronic illnesses whether you are young or old. So keep in mind till we meet again next time. My name is Moses Kennedy. Your co-host, Kidney Ambassador.
Thank you, Brother Moses. Thank you. And we'd like to thank everyone who joined the broadcast and commented. Dennis Wambus, Tabitha, Kip Ronald. Who else? And that's pretty much it. We'd like to thank you guys. Oh, Peterson, Ching, Nicholas. Thank you guys for joining and commenting. This is exactly what we need to stimulate dialogue and get the discussion rolling so our brothers and sisters in East Africa can get the proper and necessary information to tackle this disease and stand in front of it, regardless of where they're at. So until next week, we thank you guys. And let me see. Oh, thank you, Tabitha. Tabitha said, thank you, Brother Moses. And we'll see you next week as well. And wishing you speedy recovery with your arm, and that your appointment on Tuesday goes well with the surgeon. And so until next week, Brother Moses, have a safe week, safe treatment. God bless, and take care of yourself, brother.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
All right, thank you, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone, for joining Kidney Hub East Africa with host Moses Kennedy, also known as the Kidney Ambassador, and I'm Steve, the Kidney Nurse. Thank you, guys. God bless, and have a great week. Peace.